The world feels so loud, doesn't it? Divided, restless. You see it everywhere: protests on the streets, furious arguments online, news headlines that just scream conflict. We scroll through our feeds, and sometimes it feels like we're just watching the world burn. And in the middle of all that noise, the Bible offers this profound, almost countercultural statement: "Blessed are the peacemakers." Now, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that? For a lot of us, Christian peacemaking sounds like, well, avoiding conflict. It means staying quiet when things get heated, always being nice, and just letting things go to keep the peace. It's the awkward silence at the dinner table, the forced smile when you disagree, the decision to just walk away. But what if that entire idea that peace is about avoidance is completely wrong? Let's go directly to the source. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Now, notice something really important here. He didn't say, "Blessed are the peacekeepers." A peacekeeper maintains the status quo, often by avoiding the problem. But a peacemaker, that's an active role. Peacemakers act. They engage. They don't run from the mess. They intentionally step into brokenness to bring about restoration. It's a verb, a mission, not a passive state of being. The original Greek word for peacemaker, napoios, only appears here in the entire New Testament. It literally means one who makes peace. It implies construction, building, creating something that wasn't there before. So why have we gotten this so wrong? Well, look at our modern culture. Conflict feels genuinely dangerous. We live in an era of cancel culture, where one wrong word can get you publicly shamed. Online arguments escalate into all-out wars in the comments section. It often feels like winning the argument is far more important than actually understanding the other person. The risk of engaging feels too high. So what do? We choose comfort. We choose silence. We choose avoidance. And we call it peace. But that quiet tension isn't real peace. It's just unresolved conflict simmering under the surface. It's a fragile ceasefire, not a true and lasting reconciliation. This avoidance creates what psychologists call a chilling effect, where we become afraid to voice legitimate concerns or disagreements for fear of the fallout. But suppressed problems don't disappear. They fester. They create bitterness, resentment, and deeper division down the road. True peace isn't the absence of tension. It's the presence of justice and resolution. The Bible, thankfully, gives us a much better blueprint. It's filled with stories of messy, complicated, and courageous peacemaking. Take Joseph in the book of Genesis. His brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him for dead. He was falsely accused and thrown in prison. If anyone had a right to revenge, it was Joseph. He had the power to destroy the very men who ruined his life. But what did he do when he finally came face to face with them? He chose reconciliation. He wept. He forgave. And he saw God's bigger plan, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Joseph didn't just keep the peace by pretending the betrayal never happened. He confronted the past, processed his own pain, and then actively worked to restore the broken relationship with his family. His peacemaking was an act of profound strength and faith. Or think about the Apostle Paul. The early churches he planted were full of conflict, divisions over doctrine, culture, and leadership. In his letters to the Corinthians and Ephesians, Paul doesn't tell them to just be nice and ignore the problems. He does the opposite. He confronts the division head-on with a powerful combination of truth and love. He calls out sin, corrects false teaching, and pleads for unity, but he always does it with the goal of restoration. His famous instruction in Romans 12 says it all. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Notice the nuance there. If it is possible, and as far as it depends on you. This acknowledges that we can't control the other person. Peacemaking isn't a guarantee of a perfect outcome, but it is a command for our own posture and our own effort. Our responsibility is to pursue peace even when it's hard. So how do we apply this ancient wisdom today in our own fractured world? Biblical peacemaking provides us with a practical toolkit, and it all begins with humility. Before we charge into a conflict to fix it, we have to look inward. As Jesus said, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. This means we have to be willing to listen before we speak. We must seek to understand the other person's perspective before we start defending our own. So often we listen only to form our rebuttal. True peacemaking requires us to listen to comprehend. Secondly, peacemaking requires courage and clear boundaries. This is crucial. Biblical peace is not about enabling harm or tolerating abuse. Jesus himself overturned tables in the temple when righteous anger was necessary to confront injustice. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to draw a line and say, "This is not okay." Peace at any price is not true peace. True peacemaking is not passive. It's about actively pursuing restoration, which sometimes requires confronting wrong and protecting the vulnerable. It's the difference between being a doormat and being a bridge builder. A bridge has to be strong and have firm foundations. Ultimately, being a peacemaker is one of the clearest ways we reflect the character of Christ. Think about it. What did Jesus do? He entered into the most profound conflict of all, the one between a holy God and sinful humanity. On the cross, Jesus didn't avoid the problem of sin. He confronted it. He absorbed the full weight of its consequences. And in doing so, he offered forgiveness and created a path for reconciliation. He didn't just teach about peace. The Bible says in Ephesians, he himself is our peace. He broke down the dividing wall of hostility through his own sacrifice. When we work for reconciliation in our own relationships, our communities, and our world, we are participating in the very work of God. So, being a Christian peacemaker isn't the easy, passive, conflict-avoidant path. It's the brave path. It's active. It's often costly. It requires humility, courage, and a deep reliance on God's strength. But it's what we are called to be. And in a world that is so loud and so divided, it's what we desperately need. Thanks for watching. If you want more Bible truth that helps transform how we live in the real world, be sure to follow.